Hello and welcome to another edition of Newspaper Headlines Review on Agate Television and of course Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makudi. My name is Fanan Kwanum, welcoming you to this lovely edition of Newspaper Headlines Review.
It's good to be back on Newspaper Headlines Review. I'm sure you want to talk about my red. Don't worry, let's talk about it.
Good morning, Sir Tiver Akaze. It's a pleasure to have you join us again.
My pleasure to be here again.
All right, so many issues going on at the national level, international, and of course local level, and that is why we're here this morning to provide perspective, provide analysis of these issues. But then remember, you can join us on our social media handles. On Facebook, we are streaming live Agate Radio TV 1. If you log onto your Facebook and go to that page, you're gonna get us live. We're also streaming live on YouTube at Agate Radio TV. You can also visit our website www.agateradiotv.com, where we're also streaming live. Or you could simply download Radio Garden on your Android device or iOS, and then there you can listen and then watch us live. All right, so the first paper for today is the Punch newspaper, with so many stories there. So we're starting with the banner headline. It says 2027 Obasanjo Atiku orders meeting, no threat, says APC. Okay, ruling party unfazed as Labour Party, NMPP divided over possible Atiku Obasanjo collaboration ahead of next election. And then just above the name plate, hospitals groan over federal government's 50% power subsidy delays. And 800 surrendered Boko Haram militants undergoing de-radicalization. And this is. We also have other stories in the Punch newspaper, such as why Rivers withdraws Supreme Court appeal against pro-Wike lawmakers. Uber driver killed, body dumped on Lagos Road. And finally, on the Punch newspaper, Edo Tribunal Okpebolo closes defense as lone witness admits over voting. So these are some of the issues in the Punch newspaper this morning. Of course, we're starting with the banner headline 2027. That's the kicker. Obasanjo Atiku orders. Someone else is picking holes inside it. What exactly does it mean? Is it that we cannot meet again because I was former president? Atiku was the deputy president
The vice president.
Olusegun Obasanjo, the vice president. All right, so and he met his boss sometime, I think over the weekend.
And for that, it will interest you to know that Atiku said, "I'm here on a courtesy call, not here to talk about politics." But
not
you know,
2027.
But when such people meet, what do you expect? The speculation will always be there.
Chibakasi, what's your thoughts about the whole matter?
It's always interesting to see politicians, top politicians for that matter, meet and re-meet, if there is a word like that. So Atiku and Obasanjo had their issues between 1999. From 2003, they had their own issues because Atiku declared interest to run for the top job at the end of their tenure, and problems cropped up during that time to an extent, and those meeting again. So that's the beauty of politics. There is no permanent enemy,
yes,
no permanent friend, but so that's democracy in Nigeria and this country. He handed over power to a civilian government in 1979, and he also transited power in 1999. Even though there were allegations, a process, a transition process that brought in the late President Yar'Adua. So the only thing that people hold against him is that strong rumor about his third-term ambition. But beyond that, President Obasanjo has remained a pillar of Nigeria's democracy and to a large extent African democracy. That's why the United Nations consult him. At a point, he ran for that big office, and he has remained a big voice on the African continent. So he holds those bragging rights, and his home in Ota, the Ota farms. It's a pilgrimage home of sort. Many people go there, and now his library in Abeokuta, I was privileged to go there. He receives visitors, and so Atiku going to see him is a normal thing in political parlance. I had advised that if I were to meet the former vice president, I would tell him, sir, it looks like you are not destined to be Nigeria's president. So why don't you groom a younger person and support such a person to run for the office on the platform of the PDP, and you will receive support across board. Governors of the PDP will support you, other stakeholders of the party, former governors, former ministers, former senators, all of them will come together, because you will become that rallying point. Former President Jonathan is no longer active. He's not been active lately politically. So Atiku would have just taken that seat if he had, decided to back someone to run for that office. But unfortunately, it's not happening, and it looks like he is going for his bidding again, because some of his supporters have been seeing their statements. It looks like he's running again for the office. Yeah. Well, he has not declared his intentions until that time.
I was just wondering, let's look at it this way, that let's assume that his meeting with former President Obasanjo was for strategies ahead of 2027. So do you see an alliance with former President Obasanjo himself, Atiku Abubakar, taking him to the job of the seat of the #1 job in the country?
Well, it's yet to be seen. He has not openly declared his intention, but as I've said, his supporters have been, writing and saying why Atiku deserves a chance at the top job. Well, I don't know, but there's this strong rumor about a mega party, whichever name they are coming up with. But they have been holding meetings, and you find some guys in the APC. The other time, El-Rufai, former governor, told us they have left the party. So you can see some movement. But APC is saying it's no threat. Of course, I will say the same thing. If I am on the seat and I hold the ball, let's look for an analogy of football, for instance. I am the man.
What if you are not on the seat?
I am the man with the ball. Is the one with the ball now, and the opponents want to take it away from APC. So it is for you who holds the ball to say, look, you guys can't dispossess me of the ball. So what APC said is a normal thing. I didn't. And of course, don't forget that the PDP is still the leading opposition party, and no one should write off the PDP just yet. That's the way I look at it.
All right. See, talking about these issues, we had an issue in Rivers State where the Supreme Court had dismissed, the suit filed by the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, challenging the so to say pro-Wike lawmakers, And he say here, why Rivers withdraw Supreme Court appeal against pro-Wike lawmakers, Fubara. So, yes, it was decided.
Yeah, but I read what the governor of Rivers State came up to say, that what happened yesterday at the Supreme Court has not affected their case, and that their own speaker, their factional speaker, they said he's still in charge. I don't know how that is, but the loyalists of former Governor Wike have been celebrating since yesterday that it's victory for them, and but of course you can't dispute that. 27 members against 4. So who has the majority? This is something that is as simple as arithmetic. So, but I don't know. In our country, things that ordinarily should be simple. I mean, things that should be simple become complex, and then you have. I don't want to sound sentimental, But the governor of Rivers State, in my estimation, got it wrong. But this matter is still in the judiciary.
Yes, in the courts.
Because what I understand is that some of the other cases are still there. So whatever it is, the next couple of days we will play out, and we will find the truth about all of this. And if the matter is decided in favor of the loyalists of Minister Wike, I will expect the governor of Rivers State to go back to his benefactor, go back to his former boss, and make peace. Make peace. Everybody, nobody is an iron. If you treat someone well, no matter how difficult the person appears to be, this man knew you. Not many people knew you. The governor of when Governor Wike nominated or rather anointed Fubara for the governorship, even Fubara's relations, his kinsmen, were not comfortable. He was not their choice. This is something I'm very familiar with. But Wike pleaded with them and said, this guy is humble enough. I have worked with him, and I believe he will treat everyone well. He will be a governor of the people, and so on. And the people were satisfied with the explanation that Wike gave them, and they voted for Fubara. But shortly after that, the whole thing changed. So I am just surprised the way that scenario is playing out. Quite unfortunate.
Well, like you said, there are no permanent enemies. So we hope that very soon we'll see where they come back to the table to see that they do what is right for Rivers State. And Fana was just pointing out the story we can take a look at, still in the Punch newspaper, right? That's 800 surrendered Boko Haram's militants undergoing de-radicalization, says the defense headquarters. Remember, we talked about a story that they were released, yeah? And now we're talking about the fact that we're going through a de-radicalization process. What do you think about this, Chief Akasi?
Well, I don't know. You see, there is a saying in our local language that you may take a pig out of the water. Out of the mud, the swampy area. But once the pig is off your rope, it will run back to that swampy area, because the pig that is its harbor. It finds it better living around such an area. Now, if someone is a criminal, a hardened criminal, you may just give him some time off, maybe the way you treat him, but not many criminals truly repent. They just have that time off, and later on, once you are not able to give them what they want, they will go back to their bad ways. So this issue of rehabilitation,
yes,
profiling, rehabilitation of criminals like members of the Boko Haram. These are people who do not believe in the state called Nigeria. They do not believe in civilization that we practice. They do not believe in Western civilization, which is what Nigeria is practicing. The education system that we have, with churches, with missions, with schools, with hospitals, and all of these things. Boko Haram's ideology is directly against this civilization. So how do you convince me that you want to rehabilitate this person? Is he going to abandon his ideology?
Beliefs, yeah.
Is he going to abandon what he has believed in since he was a kid? Remember, these guys are recruited as child soldiers. They are taken at that tender age and indoctrinated in the hostility against the Nigerian state. So when you pick them from you want to rehabilitate them, I really don't know how this is done, but I have confidence in our intelligence and security apparatuses, security agencies, to be able to do that. And if it is done, beautiful, Nigeria will be better for it.
Yeah.
Shido, I don't seem to understand certain things when it comes to policies and programs of this country, because at one point we've had people that criticized, as low as criticized the government. Charges were leveled against, charges of treason were leveled against them. And then they were to be given the whatever punishment that they were. And somehow they were vindicated. And there were also some soldiers fighting against Boko Haram. At a point, they said, no, we are not going to go forward because the weapons we have are inferior. And then these guys were pronounced life imprisonment. I think handed a death sentence. From there, it was reduced to life imprisonment. And it took human rights lawyer Femi Falana to take them out of that situation. And then here are persons that have caused this mayhem. And then you are coming, what against this? And then why should they be empowered? Why?
It's a complex question.
A very complex question.
That no one seems to have an answer.
Very, very complex.
Because these things are really, they are I am giving benefit of the doubt to our authorities, our security authorities. They know better. They have the intelligence at their fingertips. So I want to trust that these guys will be rehabilitated, de-radicalized, and hopefully they won't go back to their bad ways at the end of the day. Because if they do, having come to know and enjoy and mix with the society, the normal society, and they go back, they will be more dangerous to accept, to be reintegrated.
Oh, we hope so.
All right, so let's, with that hopeful note, let's move to the next newspaper this morning. It's CNG buses for workers, and then there's a big projection there in Vanguard newspaper, the 2020 for Vanguard Personality of the Year award. And then we have Edo Pebolo closes case. He says NDLEA. You want to also check that. But let's come to the banner headline. Many governors desert states to live in Abuja. NLC lament. Well, it took a long time for us to hear this, but we know this. Don't we know this?
See, what NLC is saying is true. Because of the challenges, the economic challenges in the country. These governors now, I want to say that the governors under President Tinubu are the most fortunate in the history of this country. Because they came in, and the very day they were sworn in, subsidy was removed from fuel petroleum products. And that meant that more money is now coming to the states. What we have checked is that almost 400% increase. You know, so for instance, if a state was receiving 3 billion or 3.5 billion or at most 4 billion, such a state is taking as high as 13, 14, even 15 billion now. That's how much the money is coming to states now. So that's why none of them is owing salaries. If you check across Nigeria now, no state is owing. They have paid, they have been paying because the money is so much. And many of them have already cleared the arrears of salaries and gratuities. Remember, it got to a point during the Buhari government that 28 states could not pay salaries and pensions. 28. The records are there. Because even the federal government of the Buhari day was owing workers and was borrowing to pay. But now, with the subsidy removal, there is so much money coming to states now. It should be more than 400% increase. So the state governors have no reason to run away from their people,
right,
and relocate to Abuja, as the NLC you were sworn in to be the governor of the people, but here are you running to Abuja to do what? What are you doing in Abuja? Are you the local governments and states? It's such. Some of them are taking an average. Let me say a state like Benue, a state like Kogi, a state like Nasarawa. If you combine the local governments and the state, what they are receiving is more than 20 billion. It should be around 25, 20. It's not something to talk about that huge amount that's coming in. So if they want to develop their states, they can sit back, stay with your people, meet with them, ask them what their challenges are, and address the challenges. tackle infrastructure problems, tackle educational problems, tackle health problems, pay their salaries, clear the areas of salaries and pensions, and tackle social welfare programs, raise programs that can address the economic challenges of the people. How do people form cooperatives and be able to get money from government? You can raise programs that will give people money and they will be happy. So running to Abuja to stay in Abuja for months is not a solution as far as I'm concerned.
To the problems. And of course, this is an allegation. Then
So they know what they are saying.
yes, but he said, well, for him to say this, he actually.
So, Shido, I was going to bring it
Yes.
back close. I mean, we are in this town, we know where their houses are. And then one wonders, with the way they stay around, one wonders what is happening at their interior villages or their local government headquarters. So we see them around every now and then. So the NSC is not quite far from the truth.
You know.
All right. So another issue they pointed out there was the proscription of
The Kogi State.
levels and a whole lot of that. And I mean, these things are true. And one of their claims, they said unionism, as it were, is in the Constitution. You know, people have the Constitution that shouldn't be tempered with by anybody.
It's under fundamental human rights. And one of the human rights is the freedom of association. That's where it is captured. So I agree.
Now there you find state governors like that of former governor of Kogi State proscribing unionism, and they even in state institutions. The vice chancellor gets up any moment from where he likes or she likes and say, we are prescribing this union. Is this right?
Well, it's not right, but don't forget that sometimes certain decisions are made by governments as the need arises. It may not be a permanent, I don't have details of that, but it may not be a permanent closure of unions. If at a point government senses that a particular group is posing as a threat to peace, you know, constituting a nuisance to the society and thereby affecting other members of the society, then the government can say, okay, we suspend your union for a while. After some time, a review of that suspension is done. And if it is found that, yes, we prescribed this, I don't think it should be a total proscription. It should be suspension. Because people have a right under the Constitution to associate. The freedom of association is in the Constitution, as we have said. So I don't think anyone has a right to say people should not associate. The only thing is that if that association is infringing upon the rights of other Nigerians, then government can wade in and say, hold on a bit.
Let's resolve the issues.
Let's tackle this, then you can come back to your operations.
Okay, Shido, I think it's about time we take a break.
Sure.
And then when we're back, we continue with what the papers are saying.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Televisions.
Big shout out to Agate Television, Sky's your limit.
Keep watching Agate Television.
Keep watching Agate Television, one of the best in the whole city of Makurdi. Peace.
Hello, my people. Keep watching Agate Television. Watch out for more.
Agate Television, we love you.
Special shout out to Agate Television.
Agate Television, you're the best. Shout out, peace.
Shout out to Agate Television. I love you. You're the best.
Best channel, all the fun, the live shows, the best of the best you can get.
Agate TV, one of the best rising televisions in North Central Nigeria, which everybody should actually look out for.
You're welcome back. You're still watching Newspaper Headlines Review on Agate Television and listening to Agate Radio. Don't forget to join us on our social media handles. Facebook, Agate Radio TV 1, and then YouTube, Agate Radio TV. So before we went on our break, we were looking at, and by the way, I'm Fan Nkwano with Shido Taka, and our analyst is TV Akase. All right, so before we went on our break, we were looking at the Vanguard newspaper. And also another story here says, states now mandate drug test for appointees and employees. And this is coming from NDLEA. All right.
Yes, it's if we're checking other areas, why are we not checking this? Because for me, it's very important for us to know what's your state, what's your mental state, including what do you take. You understand? So yes, I feel this is important.
Yes, because mental illnesses have degrees. They have different stages. Some are mild.
Yes.
The ones that are seen and known instantly are those who go to the extreme, who are moving about the streets, sometimes naked, sometimes dressed in rags. Those are the people called mad people. But there are people who have mild issues that you may look at them, you may not know that this person is suffering from a particular issue. Some people don't even have that at all, but it may be as a result of trauma.
Yeah.
Some may have something bothering them, but if you don't check, you may not know. So it's good to find out if someone begins to behave in a particular way.
All right, so that's the welcome one. And then, of course, higher institutions across the country have also implemented testing their students to know their level of mental health or their level of drug use.
A lot of drugs are being taken.
Exactly,
and,
exactly.
These things go directly. A medical report I read said it takes 6 minutes only for alcohol or any substance of that nature to penetrate the brain. So if you are taking alcohol, it takes only 6 minutes for it to get in consequences. And they are entering your brain. Then that's going to have impact on the brain. So it's good that people are constantly checked. You are a student, you are reading for your exams, and you are combining that with substances. You are taking a lot of things to be high. So these things are competing for space in your brain with academics. What you are studying, what you are reading in the books is also trying to find space in your brain to remain there. And at the same time, the substances you are taking are, struggling for space. So eventually, the substances will people fail exams.
All right, so if you are into substance or drug abuse, know you that in the nearest future, you would have no opportunity to rule, or no opportunity to attend any school. That's what the NDLEA say, or even work. And that is a very welcome development. Well, that moves us to the next paper, which is the Guardian newspaper. And we've looked at every story here except the banner headline, Stronger Naira unsettles FX, that is foreign exchange market, amid $1 dollar savings. All right, and we have speculations mount over. We've looked at that. Women sexually violated or killed every 10 minutes in Nigeria. So those are the stories we've not looked at in that paper. So stronger Naira unsettles foreign exchange market amid $1 dollar savings. And we were here last year, where we were looking at the projection for the year 2025. And the federal government had proposed that the year is going to be run on, an exchange rate of 1,400 Naira to $1. And then we were here trying to call it a voodoo economy, and somehow there seems to be progress, because the Naira, which was so high, and I saw I think figures like 1,490 something from last week.
Yes, so it's about 1,494. So now, well, that's okay. We hope that it drops, or rather, the Naira grows stronger and it comes down to hundreds and no longer 1,000 plus. If our prayer is that someday the naira will drop to as low as 400, 300 to $1, and that will be when we begin to jubilate. But commendations to the federal government for taking some steps to strengthen the naira. These things. They said it would take time for the fruits to begin to drop for Nigerians, and we hope that it happens. If it happens, President Tinubu and his team would have received applause across the country, because when the naira falls, the impact trickles down. It gets to the final consumer, and the same thing happens in the energy sector. So let's hope that the efforts that are being made will be sustained, and the naira will drop below 1,000 to $1 someday soon.
All right, and this just reminds me of the fact that one man's food could be another man's poison, because right now, while we are jubilating and glad that this is happening, we have the FX market complaining that this is certainly not good. We saved dollar to make money.
But I mean, anyone who is saying that is not being patriotic at all. Because yes, it shouldn't.
Are you saying that?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be about only your personal interest.
Yes, exactly.
It should be about the interest of your country. If your currency is weak, then it takes a lot of money to import. Because this is exchange. We are talking about exchange rate. You give me products, I give you money. So if your currency is weak, then you are buying things at very exorbitant prices. So everybody should be praying that the naira will grow stronger. If the naira is stronger, everyone will be happy.
Truly.
So, well, those guys in Forex, I understand with them, but please, they should pity ordinary Nigerians.
Stay patriotic.
All right, next issue here. Women sexually violated or killed every 10 minutes in Nigeria. Wow, Shido.
Yes, with the recent news, just recently we had the one of the, gospel singer in quotes who were talking about, some few weeks back, and then we have more cases like this. And of course, if that's what the statistic says, maybe there are some cases we actually have not even seen in the news, but it's happening.
Actually, a lot of these cases are not mentioned because for some reasons would be shy to come up with them to avoid stigmatization. All right, so but we have always been condemning violence of any kind on this platform. There are also men that are abused.
Okay, that's a discussion. That's a discussion we can
any
have.
Form of abuse at all, we are not in support of that.
Definitely.
This is true, and that's why some of us, anytime we have the opportunity to make an appeal, we make that our sisters should be wary, should be careful, especially when meeting strange people online. You go to Facebook, you go to Twitter, you go to Instagram, you go to TikTok, and someone comes in your inbox and is chatting you, offering you a lot of things, promising you heaven on earth, and you get carried away. And this guy invites you to come to Abuja or to come to Lagos or even in the US or UK, and you hop onto the next plane or hop onto the next bus. You are traveling to Abuja to meet someone you've never seen, you've never met, not even in a live video. Even live videos can be manipulated. Yes. Someone can put another person there and you'll be talking to the wrong person. Because there are a lot of people into crime, into dubious ways. So it will be. I expect that our young ones, especially the female ones, should be careful. Don't be lured by money. Remember where you are coming from. Many of these girls are from humble backgrounds. Now, don't be lured. Don't be deceived by strangers. Because when they go meet them, sometimes you go to a hotel, you've never been to that city, they take you to a hotel, and then the next day that person disappears or he is killed. We have had cases like this happening every time. So once again, I wish to appeal to our young ones, both male and female. Sometimes the young men are lured by ladies. The bad gangs use ladies, beautiful ladies, to talk to them. They come in box and chat you. You think it's a woman chatting you, boy, to be actually be a man, being used by a gang, and they lure you. They make you believe that you have got a woman to befriend, and then you arrange to meet the person only to be kidnapped, or maybe you are used for rituals and something. So our young generation really needs to be careful in what they do. Of course, money is good. Being ambitious is good. To hustle, everybody they say they hustle. Yeah, hustling is good, but hustle in a noble way. Be careful the way you go about all of these things.
And just before you move on, I'd like to add that this issue, this pressure, there seems to be a lot of pressure these days. Because of that, we brought certain words. When I was growing up, at my little age, when I was growing up, I knew that if somebody things undoable pressure within ourselves, within our peers and whole lot of that, let's not be pressuring people. And then young men and women must also learn to absorb this pressure. Like Chief rightly said, know where you come from, know where you are going, know the stage at which you are.
That's right.
And then you move on with your own life. Don't be pressured by anybody calling you broke and all that. We've had situations whereby young men met their fathers-in-laws, the potential father-in-laws, and then they were lambasted because they didn't have money. And then such a person, if he has opportunity, he start thinking,
but I have to make it.
I need to make it.
So we should avoid these pressures at all cost.
So much motivation from Fanen this morning. Let's move ahead to the Nation newspaper. And one story there that catches my attention is the fact that JAMB has finally okayed under 16 Wizkids for 2025.
Which one is Wizkids again?
I'll explain. The Punch newspaper also takes the story, and they tell us that the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board says candidates under the age of 16 scoring 80% and above.
That's 320.
Yes,
over
exactly.
400.
Over 400. Huh. So that's the Wizkid we're talking about. But we'll talk about it shortly. Let's move to...
Wizkid means wizard kid.
Wizard kid. This story we have already treated in the other paper. Supreme Court dismisses Fubara's appeal against 26 lawmakers. Atiku Imuke Tambuwa meet over tough nut of state creation. But that's the Nation this morning. The headlines you can find in the Nation. Let's talk about JAMB okaying under 16 Wizkids for 2025 UTME. Do you think this is challenging?
Well, look, this story it's really difficult for me to talk about.
Yeah.
Why give certain people because you say it's a genius. It has that exceptional ability. Well, that's okay. I don't know. I really don't know. 18 years, it's nursery and pushed.
That's right.
We need to review our education policy and let us know at what stage should someone begin nursery one children to school before they clock 2 years, right? And if a child goes to school before she clocks or he clocks 2 years, then you expect that this child will finish school. He will be he won't be close to 16 years before he is available for university education.
Yes.
So the Nigerian authorities need to look into our educational policy and structure it. They should give that broad template so that states can also key in. Of course, education is not on the exclusive list, but the federal government can give that general policy. Because as it is, now nursery schools, people are leaving primary schools at year 4 to secondary school. Because some of these nursery schools, what they are loading the kids with is what is taught in junior secondary school. And I'm not kidding. So you find children leaving primary 4 for secondary school. They leave at that stage, write common entrance examinations, and go into secondary school. So I think there are discrepancies. So the Nigerian authorities in education need to sit at the round table, take another look, review our educational policy, and come up with something that will help our children to have a focus. And parents too and guardians, we know that you don't need to rush your kid to jump the stages of his or her progression, because this is not helping us at all. I think that's the best I can take on this matter, because this issue of JAMB saying whiz kid, so what if a whole generation doesn't have a wizard kid? What happens to the rest of these people? Shouldn't they go to school?
And imagine.
I think a review of our educational system needs to be done, and done now.
Okay, recently the Minister of Education was a Dr. What's his name? Lausa or something.
Yes.
All right, so he went to a public occasion, and delivering his speech, he made a suggestion that Nigeria should adopt a kind of, currently what we do is we do 6-3-3-4. So he was looking at a 12-4, a comprehensive secondary.
Okay.
That at the end of the 12 years, the necessary bodies come to examine them at the final level, then they proceed to tertiary institutions. And one of the things I liked in that policy, he said, was that during these 12 years, there are going to be strong skills that will be attached to this education, to this curriculum, to fend to the needs of these kids. So that by the time they are finishing the 12 years, even if they do not further, they should be useful to themselves and also to the society. And I looked at that and I clapped, because I think other clients are also practicing this type of education. I always mention this, that someone was trying to kid me over that. If you look at, I watch a lot of Chinese kids video, and then you see as small as they are trying to manipulate electric shovels, those that are into production of into technology, doing different things and whole lot of that at that tender age. And by the time they are out of school, they are meaningful to themselves. But you see here, people that are rated best teachers are people that are best at singing and clapping with kids in the class. So I think, like you said, overhauling the process, their age is already, high. And there will be it does not provide any room for this jumping or skipping classes.
That system also needs to take care of the year of enrollment in the nursery school or primary school, as the case may be, because some of our rural areas don't have facilities for good nursery education. So they have to start at the primary. Some rural areas still do not have nursery schools. So they have to start at the primary school level. So there has to be that rethinking of which age should he or she begin nursery enrollment into the university. The age of enrollment would have been taken care of. I think that's where we should start.
Why some persons are trying to cut down their age. Some people are trying to manipulate their ages forward to
so
gain admission.
Yeah.
But you know how challenging. You are expecting a 16-year-old to make 320 something. 18-year-olds or more cannot.
El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, said he graduated from the university at the age of 20 or 21. So that means he enrolled into the university at the age, I don't know which course he read, but I think it was a 4-year course. So it means he got to the university at the age of 16. So perhaps
at that time.
Those are the people we are expecting.
It's arguable, but he was talking about himself. So how can you argue
about it?
So he said he graduated at the age of 20, if not 21, 20 or 21. So that means he got into school at 16 or 17 years. So perhaps that's from that template that they are talking about
The
16
Wizkid,
years.
yeah, making 320.
Well, actually, 16 years. It's small age.
It is.
To go to the university. You are not yet an adult. By Nigerian laws, you are not yet qualified to even vote at elections. So it's really a tender age. But for which kids?
Probably.
Well, that will be our program for today. Thank you very much, my co-host Shido Taka.
Thank you,
You've done a great job.
Thank you, Fanan.
And then thank you very much, Iftevi Akasi.
It's my pleasure to be here again.
All right. Well, my name is Fanan Kwano. Do join us next week, Tuesday, for another interesting edition of Newspaper Headlines Review. Meanwhile, the recorded tapes are still on YouTube and Facebook. Watch us there.